Morning. Yeah. I'm Dr. Ben Newman, and I work on coronaviruses. Let's try to answer your questions. All right, next question is from, I'm never sure if it's Dina or Dana. I don't know. I should ask. Yeah. I'm going to go with Dina, but I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Let's see. So, question is a really good one, actually, and quite topical and timely. Yeah, look at you. Yeah. Is there a marker within a gene that would cause someone to be more susceptible to severe symptoms of COVID-19? All right. And so the answer is yes, definitely. We do not know all of them, but here is what we know so far. So, there was a big paper that came out in Science, and I want to say the end of October, so not too long ago. Yeah. And in this paper, they looked at what's called the type 1 interferon system, which for people that are into immunology, well, you already know if you're into immunology. It's going to be things like interferon alpha and beta and all the things that work with them. And these are going to have different effects on pretty much every cell in the body once it comes down to it. But they also will have big effects on the immune system in particular. So these are they're like little danger beacons that tell other cells to basically lock the doors because there's a virus in town, while getting the immune cells a little bit riled up. Yeah, they're very useful. And so we've known for a long time that type 1 interferon is important, but it's of course not the only thing that's important in coronaviruses. But what they looked at in the paper, they looked for 13 genes that happened to be related to type 1 interferon. And oh my gosh, didn't they find in their big sample of 600 and some people that there was in the people with high disease, there was a overrepresentation of some of the genes that would be predicted to like stop a protein halfway through, and which we would figure would probably break the protein, but where we don't know for sure. But if there's only half of it there, it's yeah, it's probably not going to work unless it's like a Snickers bar. Half of it is just not going to do. Again, for giant immunology fans, some of the systems they were looking at there were like toll-like receptor 3, everything that's under it, and all the signaling that would go on around it. A couple of interferon response factors, interferon receptor. For everybody else, it's just all the stuff that makes interferon do what it does. Yeah, and kind of the side players that make it work a little bit better. That's only going to be a little part of the story because they only looked at those 13 genes, and so they only found things for those 13. We know for other coronaviruses that type 3 interferon seems to be very important in controlling them. We know that antibodies against certain types of interferon, a type alpha interferon and an omega interferon, if you have antibodies against your own interferon, that seems to be linked to greater severity of disease, probably because you're shutting down the thing that's hopefully, would otherwise be keeping you healthy. We think there are also going to be big differences in the way that the immune system works, like the way that they chop up little bits of the protein and show them to other parts of the immune system, which is MHC, basically. Again, if you're into immunology. If not, yeah, it's just the way that cells show each other what they're making at the moment so that the immune system can kind of check and do a little spot check and make sure you're not making any virus proteins over there. What are you doing over there? So that's, let's see, we know about those. There are, my gosh, for original SARS coronavirus, there's another little pathway, the TAC and TIE pathway, and these are other genes. And having changes in some of these genes seems to lead to increased susceptibility to disease. So yeah, it's more like a question of what genes don't, influence SARS-CoV-2. And I think right now we only know a few from the few studies that have come out and been published, but it's going to be, yeah, by the time it's over, there may be hundreds of genes that you can honestly, hand on heart, say are associated with increased disease severity. Now, what's that mean for you and me? Well, we can't do much to change our genes, but we can, wear a mask and keep COVID-19 away. And so I think that is very much the thing to do. just assume that you may or may not have little ticking time bombs buried in your chromosomes and act accordingly, I would say. Because it doesn't matter how healthy you seem, how sure you feel that it's okay. Yeah, it may not be. And yeah, it may be written right there in your genes in a way that we understand or a way we don't understand yet. You don't want to be the person that they write that paper about. Yeah, neither do I. Yeah, that's what I would tell people yeah, if they're asking about this. So that's a really good question. Very good sciencey question. Thanks a lot for yeah, asking that. And this has been Ask Dr. Ben.